Atletico Madrid just completely exposed Barcelona in this match here. 4-0. 4-0. I didn't expect this coming to this match. The last match they won against Real Betis was what? A 5-0 win for Atletico Madrid. They play against Betis in La Liga a few days later. They tie 1-1. And I'm like, maybe it's just a honeymoon phase. Maybe it was just, first game of new signings, Lookman. And, they performed over, their standards. And then they went back to the normal selves against Betis. But then you come here and they just outsmarted. I don't want to say outsmarted. They just exposed them. They exposed Barcelona. The highline, I don't know why you're implementing a highline when you don't have Pedri, when you have Rafinha, you don't have the creative in the midfield, you don't have the player that presses the ball up as with Rafinha. Yeah, you still play with this, and that led to most of the goals. Balde was a huge liability to this team. You don't have Rafinha on the side that can help drop back, and you're also having Balde, who's just let all these every one of these goals. It was just them going through Balde and that side of the pitch, and they just let it happen again and again and again. This game could have ended off 6-0, 7-0, if it wasn't for a few chances. Sorloth had a chance. Julian Alvarez had a chance. Griezmann had a chance. Another one. This game could have been 7-0. They really exposed Barcelona in the first half. And then, of course, in the second half, Barcelona scored the whole offside debacle, Lewandowski or Kubarsi, one of them. And then that just took out all the momentum for Barcelona. Maybe if they scored that, they could have got back. It would have been huge for the second leg. You're at home. And sure, you're going to be 3-0 down if they had this goal that was VAR'd offside. And maybe potentially lead to a comeback. But that wasn't the case, and they got a man down, so Garcia won't be playing next week. It's probably Gerard Martin who's going to fill in, or Araujo. But man, it was surprising. I didn't expect a huge blowout like this. The first goal obviously was a mistake from Joan Garcia or Eric Garcia, which one you want to blame. Eric Garcia passed it, Joan Garcia went through his foot, and then just when they get it out, it did cross the line, but then they were managed to score afterwards, but they still counted it as an own goal. And of course, the second goal, Antoine Griezmann. Great plays from them. It was always them just breaking through the defense, especially the Barca's defense pressed so high. And I don't know why. I don't know why they have that. It's just really, really just shocking. You've seen the mistakes, and you're doing it with, certain players not playing. You had Casado, who's subbed out for having a yellow so early into the game, and also wasn't performing as well, and it's just man, it was terrible. I think a mistake was bringing in Lewandowski so early for Casado. You should have, if you're gonna do a substitution that early, you should have just brought in Gerard Martin instead of Lewandowski, because I don't even think Lewandowski had a touch this entire game. And at least you would have someone that would have helped pressed up, and another defensive person to have in the team. Well, 37th minute they were 3-0 down in the 37th minute. So, I mean, maybe would have stopped the fourth goal. Who knows? But, man, it was just really, really bad performance as a whole for Barca. And then you have Atletico, which, they brought in new signings. You have Lookman. And, Julian Alvarez scoring after such a long goal drought. I think it was like 10 games, I believe. Julian Alvarez not scoring. He was starting off amazing this season. Atletico weren't. But Julian Alvarez was scoring the goals. There's rumor like he should leave. He's, way better. He's playing way better than the team itself and deserves a move. And then, he had this little stint of not scoring. Now, boom, goal and assist. Of course, in a game against Barcelona. Griezmann getting in the score sheet. Lookman looks great, really pacey, skillful player that Lati never really has in the wing. So that's, huge for them. Ruggeri, one of the best players in the pitch, really. I think he was such an important person in that pitch. Simeone, I don't know why he's 7.0 rating. I think he looked really solid this game. A lot of chances, pushing up. He's a really pacey player. I think he played really. Llorente was such an important player as too, holding in that midfield and, being that main guy to help control it. So great from him. But man, and Musso, of course, the goalkeeper came in for All Black, and then, he performed pretty decent. And one thing I liked about this this Atletico team, you see the starting 11. And this is your bench you're bringing. You bring Alex Bonilla, who is a good player. Is in Villarreal. Still really hasn't shown it yet in Atletico, but he's a good player to bring in. Sorloth, tall player, really good in the box. You're able to bring him in. Thiago Almada, who's really good as well, and then Lenormand. So it's good players bringing in, and then you look at Barca. It's just like in the 77th minute, that's when you bring in Joe Cancelo and Ronald Araujo. Yes, Barca have injuries. Of course, you're missing Gavi, Pedri, Rashford, and Rafinha. But I don't know. Maybe you should have just brought in a Mark Burno to help hold it down, or a Rooney for one pacey player. But I don't know. It is what it is for Barca. Terrible performance from them, really. It shows that Lamine can't really do it without Rafinha and Pedri. You need at least one of them to play with Lamine, because that performance there was just not it. It was really bad, and Atletico really did expose them. And here, next game is going to be at home, so that's going to be really important. Sociedad won their game, so it could be Atleti Sociedad if it stays as it is. But you never know what can happen in the Camp Nou. Barcelona can make a comeback. Who knows? But in this match in particular, really bad performance from Barca.